Hi everyone, this is a second video that I'm recording today. I really believe the Lord is really calling us all to these urgent times to make the preparations that we need to be right and ready for all the things that are coming on the earth. First thing I want to say is I think a lot of people are not aware what biblical Christianity is. It's following Christ, it's taking up our cross and following Him. And I know some people that will be listening understand that, and others that might be new to Christianity or have been long-term Christians, maybe going through the motions in religious institutions, which are called Christian and bear no resemblance to the truth about our walk as believers, to follow our Master wherever that may go. And it requires suffering, it requires sacrifice, it requires being rejected, it requires a number of things that we don't actually like, and it will be easy to give up and believe the lie when we're told that God is just here to be a candy floss daddy and His blessings, and if we tithe our money to a rich pastor in his posh suit, that we're going to get thousands and thousands of pounds back, and we can even pay the pastor to pray for healing and for miracles. And when we do that, the Lord will surely bless us with life and healing, and it's a lie. Let me tell you what biblical Christianity is. It's coming to the Lord on the basis of who we are as sinners, knowing our condition and knowing our need of redemption and being reconciled to God that made the heavens and the earth. And I was considering it, when God created the heavens and the earth, all the things, the world that we now live in, which is flat by the way, that He made everything as a canopy over us. And everything we need for life comes out of the soil and the earth, and it was pure when He made it, and it has a season and it has a time, and the rudiments of how this whole world works is perfect, but humanity, because of sin, has defiled it, and therefore everything is out of line. We're agitated, people are agitated, and it's the point of agitation where sin and wickedness is begun to increase, because the enemy has got into what biblical Christianity is. He's made a lie out of religion. Many people follow religion, and many people don't want Christ. They hate Christ, even though they know it's true, and that's a mystery. But the Lord said many would reject the truth, and they'd be handed over to have exactly what they want, and we can see that happening now. So the Lord just wanted me to make a very short message, and it's from Matthew 5 verses 23 to 24, and it's about going for Him. But when we go for Him, when we first get saved, we're all excited, we're going to tell everyone about Jesus, and then something might happen, we get a bit sort of knocked back and interrupted, because we have to go through preparations so that the Lord can trust us with Him, and that we have to be assured that we will follow Him and represent Him, but also as well be prepared to give an answer in season. But also when things happen, we don't want to end up in our old nature fighting with people and cursing people and all of those things, because we have to be a testimony to the fruit and the nature and the character of God, which is sometimes to suffer silently, sometimes to go through the mill, sometimes to go for the fire, and still say, I trust my God who shall deliver me from the enemy. And so Jesus, when He was talking about preparation and the expectation, in Matthew 5, 23, 24, He was talking about sort of being prepared to actually deal with matters, and it's really hard for us to do that. And I just want to read a couple of verses. It says, Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and thou hast remembered that thou brother has something against you, then leave thy gift at the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come back and offer thy gift. So basically what the Lord is saying is, we know that someone is offended with us, if we know there's something outstanding with a person, whoever's right, whoever's wrong, it's irrespective. What the Lord wants us to do is, if someone has taken offence or someone isn't reconciled, there's not an ease of a relationship between a believer, a Christian sister or a Christian brother. Something has happened, and things can happen for all kinds of reasons. Maybe someone is a new believer, maybe something's been talked about, maybe they've misunderstood prayer, maybe there's pressure from a relative, maybe there's pressure from a child, Maybe there's pressure from other people around them that aren't even true believers, and so therefore they add to the understanding of maybe someone, so that that person gets offended and thinks that it's right just to not deal with matters and not see or speak or have anything to do with other believers. And it's just not biblical. And Jesus says there should be no schism, nothing between any believer, any true spirit-filled believer, that would really mean that we should stay away from each other. We maintain those relationships because we're in God's family now, and God is a good father. He's the husbandman. He knows what's right, and he wants us to behave well towards him, not out of works, out of love, and behave well towards each other and settle matters quickly. And there's so many occasions when I hear of people falling out or getting offended, or we've got mobile phones and we've got means we can just block people and cut them off who are believers, and it's just a mystery to me. But also as well, sometimes I understand that sometimes the Lord wants to deal with stuff, so he permits us, we have time out, maybe we need to hide away, maybe the Lord is chastening us and we just need to go and be with him for a season while he shows us. It might be that we've been wounded, it might be that he's dealing with things where we're suspicious, it might be that other people have told us all have nothing to do with that person and try and give a bad reputation when our heart of heart really knows. But sometimes it's convenient to not deal with things correctly before the Lord. And so what Jesus is doing is the context of how we should be as believers one to another, but there's a bigger picture based on the times that we're living in. And we see so many things going on in our nation, in the nations across the world, just things that have changed so significantly and so dramatically. And the Lord wants us to be right with each other so that we can rely on each other. But also as well, if trouble comes our way, that we don't respond anymore in the old nature, i.e. we want to hit back, we might want to defend ourselves with our tongue, we might get tempted to just curse and start swearing. We might have something that happens, and rather than just going and sorting it out or just going home and just waiting on the Lord and asking him to help us to reconcile, we might go and start drinking, or we might start smoking again. And the Lord all the while will use every situation to refine us, to purify us, make us spotless, so that we don't want our right to ourselves anymore. We'd rather be wrong for the sake of lifting someone else up, so that they are reconciled to us. Because sometimes we misunderstand, and there are believers who are not born again. They will give well-meaning advice. Sometimes they carry an animosity, maybe a jealousy, maybe they try and undo what the Lord has done. Particularly when we're walking with other believers, they put doubt into people's minds. And people can end up, just keeping themselves going backwards, really, and going back to the situation they were in, and not really yielding to what the Lord has said. So I want to say that if we have hatred, if we have things in our heart, if we have resentment, if we have undealt with matters, the enemy, Satan, knows that. He knows how to bully us with our mind. He knows how to put thoughts in us. He knows how to use thoughts to keep us captive and pretend that everything's okay, and we sort of turn away from the people that we know we need to reconcile with, and we have a new bunch of people where there isn't sort of any discomfort. Sometimes it doesn't really make our flesh respond, so we stay in the comfort of the context, and we can stay quite closed. And of course, biblical Christianity is absolute passion for Christ. It's not just like being ordinary, lukewarm, as if, ordinary, powerless Christianity. It's going through the fire and being with people who might be different from different backgrounds, but we have Christ in common, and we learn from each other, we build each other up in faith, we go for him. So I want to say that don't stay comfortable, don't be religious. There's a lot of places which give a good word, but there's no power. It's that routine of religion, that routine. You can go to most places and know that when you rock up on a Sunday or whatever day that body of believers meets, you'll be really greeted with the majority who are not born again, but we learn from what we see from people. And you can have the songs, which is normally however many songs for however long. We say let the Holy Spirit be sovereign, but he never is. We have nice words, it might touch our heart, but there's no power, there's no prayer, the Lord isn't sovereign, and we can still contain things that aren't dealt with. And of course what happens is the enemy can come and start to trouble us. He can send a message which seems right, and we can end up going backwards, being overwhelmed by emotions, being overwhelmed by fear. We can be in a circumstance, whether that might be at work or in a marriage or in a friendship or a relationship, where we're being really pressed down, but we stay there thinking we're doing the right thing. And the Lord doesn't really want us to do that. He wants us to be with people that help us walk strong. It's not really biblical that we should have ongoing healing for years and years for wounds and emotions, even though terrible things do happen, because the Lord sets us free from those. He reconciles us. He helps us work out that health and healing. And when we have mind attacks and mind control and things that torment us and reasoning, and then we start to get a bit shaky again and go backwards, we go back to what's familiar, and we can get stuck and we can get taken captive and never grow up. And then we can stay in abusive situations and relationships because it's familiar, we're comfortable, and all the while the Lord wants us to come out. And so sometimes people can get really offended with others over nothing, over true biblical Christianity, over prayers of power, over spirit-filled believers just telling the truth in love. And when we have those reactions and responses, we can contain it, we can discuss it, because we don't understand it, and we can have well-meaning advisors that tell us we're right. So don't have anything to do with them anymore, just do what you think is right. And of course the Lord doesn't want us to do that. He wants us to go through the fire, always be reconciled. We should love others so much and be faithful when people like have really walked with us and encouraged us, and serve Christ well. You know, I know believers really love the Lord, and they take stuff, you know, for the Lord. And people who are believers can be horrible, they can get offended, but you have to be resilient to those things, because you understand that we've been like it as well. So just to say, Jesus took it so seriously that sometimes we can't go and start doing good things for other people when we haven't done what Jesus said, which is to sort it out with other people. When we know we might wrong someone, you know, that really loves us. We can misunderstand something. They haven't sinned, they haven't done anything to deliberately try and harm us. They like really sort of biblical, godly advisors that can see, have heard from the Lord, but we don't like the truth sometimes, and we get offended, and we can surround ourselves with well-meaning advisors. And a lot of people who say they're Christians are not born again, they're not spirit-filled, and they don't deal with issues, and that's why there's so much sickness, so much fear. People bow down, and nice people will just be around nice people. And it doesn't enable us to be convicted. When I say convicted, stirred in the spirit to deal with matters. And if there's anything that I would say, if there's anyone here who has anything outstanding, then go and deal with it. And your flesh will have to die for you to go and say, you know what, I got upset with you. I blocked you, I didn't want anything to do. People told me it was right, you know, but it's not right. It's not right to cut off a sister or brother. God doesn't do that in the body of believers. He helps us to face up to those matters, forgive each other, and then carry on walking. And yes, there are times which are interchangeable, and there are tasks and things we have to do, but we don't, you know, have nothing to do with people that haven't sinned against us, and we don't listen to people that will tell us based on their animosity or their discernment. You know, it's very easy for unsubmitted believers who get easily offended to have discerned something with a true born-again believer, and the enemy uses them to separate us and to keep us in bondage, and we don't even know we're captive sometimes. So take captive your thought, do what Jesus said. If you're going to church every Sunday and you know that you haven't reconciled to somebody, if you're in a fellowship group and you've got offended and you've told people that this person said that, and the well-meaning people have advised you, oh, stay away, it doesn't sound right, don't do that. If you know that there's a sister or brother is in torment and they're being pressed down, they have trouble in their mind at the moment, and they've got offended with you and you don't know what to do, pray. And pray the Lord will reconcile, pray the Lord will heal, pray the Lord will put us in a position where everything resumes, normal service resumes as soon as possible. It's not correct for unbelievers to be offended with each other and cut other believers out of your life if they have not sinned, because love stands the test of time. Misunderstanding can always be understood when we pray together, when we walk together in power. So deal with matters quickly, do what Jesus said. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar and you remember that a brother or sister has anything against you, then leave the gift, leave your worship. Don't go to church and start pretending holier than thou. Go thy way and first be reconciled to that person and then come, because the Lord will accept the gift. But if we don't do what Jesus himself said, we can't be reconciled, and it's not the right offering, and we will just stay pressed down, a little bit fearful. Things that we had before will start to come back. We'll just continue in the old man and the old behaviour. The Lord doesn't want us to. He wants to build us up, make us strong. Don't have doubts and concerns. Take them to the Lord in prayer, and be reconciled to people that love you and you love, because it's imperative, so the enemy has no space, no open doors in our life that will take us captive and cause harm and hurt to other people who walk in love for us, in Jesus' name. I hope this helps someone today. And if anyone wants to contact me, or I could help in prayer, please do. I'm here to serve. In Jesus' mighty name, be blessed.